Welcome to the postcast. The Utah Jazz fall tonight in Sacramento. Final score this evening by the Kings, 108-97. Ron, I had a good feeling about this game. When you look at the first half of this game, the Jazz led it 56-51. They had bounced back. They were playing from ahead. They were doing most of the things you would have wanted them to do in this game, but then all of a sudden in the third quarter, they really stopped defending, stopped contesting shots, and they just, I don't know. I don't know what happened in that third quarter.
Well, one thing, they started outworking the Jazz. And if you look at the stat sheet, David, look at, what is that, 31 offensive rebounds between the two teams. But the Jazz in that first half, majority of their offensive rebounds came in that first half. And so the Kings started to hit the glass and started to get a lot of second chances to shoot the basketball. 22 second chance points there for the Kings there for the ball game. But they start to outwork the Jazz.
Kings shoot 50% last night, 54% tonight. When Jazz came into this stretch, as one of the better defensive teams in the league against the shot. They really had done a nice job. Why do the Kings cause the Jazz so many difficulties defensively? And then my next case scenario, have they exposed something that the rest of the team's league going to follow?
Well, maybe so, because the one-on-one defense, the pick and roll in the middle of the floor, has always given the Jazz problems so far this year. But the fact that they are not being able to play any heads-up one-on-one basketball, that the Kings were beating them off the dribble. And then when that happens, you know, the help defense is there, then anyone can get offensive rebounds. 50% last night, and they lose. 54% tonight, and they win. So it has to be something on the defensive end of the floor that the Jazz need to correct.
The concern I have, Ron, is you go back to 2 years ago, the year in which everything eventually exploded. I stem back, you know, there's a bunch of nights that year where we talk about, but defensively was we played the Portland Trailblazers, if I remember correctly, on back-to-back nights in a similar circumstance. There might have been one game in between, and they high pick and rolled the Jazz to death. And 2 nights later came back and did it again, and the rest of the league obviously saw that film and then just blitzed the Jazz for the rest of the year with that. And I'm concerned of whether the same thing may have happened here, where now teams are going to have back-to-back films of Sacramento just slicing the Jazz up and going to say, wait a second, we're just going to emulate that. Now, I don't know if everybody has Tyreek Evans and has some of these type players, but it's a little unnerving when somebody does this to you 2 nights in a row. You begin to think they might have an answer to what you're presenting.
Well, when you have guys, Al's not a great defender in the pick and roll, and so that hurts you. So I think Coach Corbin is definitely going to have to make some decisions there, and defensively anyway. I've always thought, from watching practice and knowing how they want to do things, that they were going to force one way and not let them come back over the top of the screen. That has not been happening. If you notice how many times they were able to get down the middle of the floor here tonight, that's not the team philosophy. So, again, some different schemes or the different ways of defending players, the Jazz will have to come up with.
One of the concerns that Tyrone Corbin's always had with Derek Favors is just his propensity for foul trouble. That put him in the starting lineup. He got 2 fouls the other night, got knocked out. It happens again tonight. He gets 5 fouls tonight. He only gets 15 minutes on the floor. And I thought, Ron, to some extent, such the youth, and the Jazz have done things differently, and they decided to put the young players surrounded by veterans. And we may see why, really, tonight. The veterans weren't particularly good either. But Gordon Hayward and Derek Favors, who were the heroes last night, follow tonight with a combined effort of 1 of 14 from the field, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and they can finish with 10 points between the two of them. Here are the guys that last night, Gordon had 23, Favors had 16 and 14, and yet tonight they're not only unimpactful, they were negatively impactful.
It wasn't even the ball game there, but we were expecting that. We were expecting those 2 guys, especially Gordon, to come out with that same mentality and have a good night. Randy Foye got off to the good start, and Tyrone Corbin kept him in there. Remember, we talked about milking a guy when he's hot like that. So the time that Gordon usually would come in the ball game, he did not come in the ball game. I don't know if that affected him or not, but whatever the case, the Jazz struggled, had a chance, didn't get it done.
Paul Millsap fired back with a decent second half, but he finishes 4 of 11. He had 5 turnovers in the ball game. I don't know if it was the small forward time that got him on nerve, but all of a sudden Paul is 14 of his last 45 from the field, which is really unusual for Paul. That's about 37, 38% off the top of my head. What do you think? And it's not just that. It visually doesn't look right for him on the floor. What do you think's going on with him right now?
Boy, it's really hard to say, and I just hope that he doesn't let that affect him. Just go out there and play to the point where you're not thinking and you're not worrying about your shots and you can always play defense and rebound and play hard. But when that offense is not working for you, you start to worry about that, and that just carries over to other parts of your game.
Jazz fall in Sacramento 108-97. This is going to be the story of the year. The West is going to be tight. There are just not those games you can walk in and put a W in. We're seeing that with losses in New Orleans and Sacramento. There's certainly games you need to get and you want to get, but it's not the way the West is going to work this year. The road game in New Orleans, though, I will say, is particularly important. You've got to go get one of your two road games in these cities of the supposed bottom half, but the bottom half is going to win 35 games apiece this year, and it's not going to be easy. I'm telling you, I've said it all year, 46-42 is going to separate 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the Western Conference. It is going to be an up-and-down year. Tonight was the down. Last night was the up. On behalf of Ron, I'm David. Thanks for tuning into the Postcast. We'll be back with you for a tip-off with you Monday morning, and Jazz will play the Nuggets on Monday at home. Get your tickets at utahjazz.com.